Welcome to the channel Street Dog Worldwide. I am your host, Stephen Stewart, also known as the original Street Dog. This section is titled Howling with the Big Dog, featuring my pops, Elijah Stewart. Welcome to another fantastic edition of Street Dog Worldwide's Howling with the Big Dog. I'm Stephen Stewart, the original Street Dog, here with the Big Dog himself. This show wouldn't be Howling with the Big Dog without the Big Dog himself, Mr. Elijah Stewart, also known as Pops. What's going on, Pops? How you doing?
Nothing much, man. It's kind of chilly out here this morning. We're getting those out here, but it's supposed to hit 7.4 up here today, man. It's supposed to be nice. It was nice yesterday, too, 7.4.
Okay.
So, but it's supposed to drop back down, I think, one day, starting next week. It's supposed to drop back around 60 every day. But we're going to have the next, to Sunday, I think, we're going to have the temperature in the 70s, low 70s and mid 70s. So,
all right,
I'm ready for it.
Good stuff. Well, again, this is Street Dog Worldwide's Howling with the Big Dog. Thank you for joining us. Please, for aneurysm awareness and for those dealing with anxiety and depression, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Street Dog Worldwide. Support our friends who are dealing with those three situations and support what we do. Now,
turn your volume up a little bit, Steve. I can't hardly hear you.
Turn my volume up. My volume is up.
Something's wrong. I can't hardly hear you.
Okay. Hopefully that you can hear this. Let's see. Is that better?
It's either you leaning too far back. Bring your mic closer to you then.
I don't have a mic. It's automatically on this thing. You can't.
That's a little better. That's a little better.
In the sports world, considering the Super Bowl weekend is coming up, the sports world is being shaken right now due to the Philadelphia 76ers forward Paul George being suspended for 25 games for violating the league's anti-drug policy. The suspension was announced by the NBA and began immediately, starting with Philadelphia's home game against the Pelicans last week. George will be eligible to return on March the 25th, 2026, meaning that he will miss roughly 1/3 of the regular season and is going to cost him about $11.7 million in salary. The league has publicly disclosed which specific drug or substance was involved, only that the violation was against the NBA or the NBPA anti-drug program. George released a statement saying he recently sought treatment for mental health issues that made the mistake of taking an improper medication, quote unquote. He took full responsibility, acknowledged to the 76ers organization, teammates, and fans and said he plans to use the suspension time to focus on his mental and physical condition. Now, reactions in the media has been mixed. Some former players and voices in sports commentary has been critical and skeptical, questioning whether mental health treatment should be treated differently under the policy. NBA Hall of Famer Charles Oak publicly called the situation fishy on Inside the NBA, suggesting that if George took medication for mental health, there should be a potential exemption process. Michael Irvin, the Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, jokingly stated that he should have got exempted for his mental health issues, when he got caught in the hotel with cocaine and marijuana.
Now what he's trying to say is, so he didn't get exempt, so why should he? That's what he's saying. He's saying it in a joking way, but that's what he's saying.
So today we're going to unpack not just from a basketball standpoint, but from a cultural and personal accountability angle. Because this is about expectations, consequences, and how high-profile figures handle setbacks. So, Pops, Big Dog, when you hear a star athlete like Paul George getting a 25-game suspension for a drug policy violation, but saying it was an improper medication he took while trying to address his mental health, what's your first reaction to that?
He's lying. He's lying. If you got mental problem, I don't think no doctor gonna give you a drug that would eventually cause you to be suspended. I don't think your doctor would do that to you. And if you,
the drugs that he got caught with was under a doctor's advice of medication.
This is what I'm saying. So you just gonna go out, go to Mexico, or send to Europe somewhere for pills that take for your mental health, and not gonna be under a doctor's care? He's lying. We know what he was taking. He just wanted to get high. That's all. So I don't feel sorry for these guys. These guys are college graduates, man. They're educated, supposedly. And you go out and put your, I've said it time and time again, we put ourselves in the position to get rolled over. You know, I don't understand. The NBA, the owners pay you this money, and you're so stupid, or you think you're so smart that you can get around stuff that, you know, you can do what you want to do and not get caught. Man, there's people out there with eyes on you 24/7 while you trying to sleep. People are watching you, trying to get dirt on you. Why can't they realize this? So if he's suspended for 25 games, gonna cost them $11 million, the owner said, well, you know what? I'm gonna pay these idiots this money because I'm gonna get most of it back for the years out anyway. So what? So I pay him 40, 50 mil, but I'm gonna get 10 or 12 of it back for his stupidity. And that's the way they look at things. These owners don't care nothing about paying you money because they know they're gonna get it back. And you ain't got sense enough to hold on to it. I don't care how much money he got. I don't care how much money he got. I don't care how much money he got. He can't afford to give no $11 million back to the owner. He can't do that. He don't have that kind of money. I don't give a damn how much money he made. $11 million, you gonna get that back to him just at a drop of a hat because you wanted to get high? Come on, man. I don't feel sorry for him. They should have fined him more than that. You know, these guys are supposed to be educated men and doing stuff like this. Costing him money, costing his team's games more than likely. And it's just idiotic. These guys don't understand these people are watching you.
The Eastern Conference is tough. The 76ers need him.
Man.
But they supporting him.
What else they gonna do? What else they gonna do? They got to support him. But I bet you behind his back, they call him an idiot, just like I am. This idiot out here costing us games and costing himself money and shit. And we might not even make the playoff now. So
it's tight. In your life, Pops, in your life, when someone makes a public mistake, does accountability look different if it's unintentional? Or should the consequences always be the same?
If the mistake is the same, the consequences should be the same. Whether he meant to do it or not. Because it's been laid out for each of us about mistakes. You are not the first one that made this mistake. You've seen what happened when another guy make this guy or lady make this mistake. You see this, and you know what? Damn, that was their first offense. and they got stuck like this. Hey, if I make that same mistake, I'm gonna get stuck like that too. So no, I don't feel sorry for them. If they make the same mistake, the consequences should. Matter of fact, the consequences should be worse on the next person that make the same mistake that say I did. If you come along and make the same mistake, and I'm seeing what happened to me for making this mistake, I think your consequences should be deeper than mine was, because I was the first one to make this mistake. And then you seen what happened to me. But the first thing you say, hey, I ain't gonna get caught. Yeah, okay. Then when you get caught, then you want to use, well, I was sick. I was taking it for my migraines. I was taking it for my mental health. No, we're not going to fall for that. Your ass going to sit down and it's going to cost you. That's the way it should run. No, he shouldn't get no break. Everybody want to use an excuse now for when they get caught. He wasn't using no excuse when he was out there doing this thing with the whatever medication he was taking. He knew it was illegal.
Quote medication.
Well, it was medication for what he was taking it for. It was medication. It was fixing him up. He was getting ready for the next day or whatever. Yeah, it was medication for him. But was it for mental health though? It was for satisfaction at the time. That's what he should have said.
Mental health.
Man, I don't feel sorry for these guys. They make this money and they ain't got sense enough to hold on to it. I don't feel sorry for them. It should have been 22 mil he missed. $22 million they should have fined him for.
Okay. Now, do you think society and sports league take mental health, ADD, ADHD, OPP, do they take mental health seriously enough, or do we still treat it as a weakness and punish people who are asking for help?
If you go to the proper authorities, doctors, therapists, and stuff like this, I don't, if your buddy want to call it weakness, that's on him. I'm going to get me some help, buddy. And I'm going to get help where I should get it at. I'm not going to grab something off the street and take it and think that's going to benefit me. And knowing I'm in sports and knowing if I get caught taking something illegal, the consequences of it. If you fall for that trap that, oh man, he's weak. Okay, so I'm gonna be weak. I'm gonna go get something. I'm gonna go to a doctor to talk to or get medication that's illegal to help me. So you can call it what you want. I'm not gonna take this bullshit off the street. I call it with a person with good sense and using good judgment to go to the doctor if he's feeling down or sad and stuff, and go to the doctor and get help. I don't call that weakness. I call it weakness when you're too stupid to go to the doctor and try to seek help. That's being weak there. That's what's weak. When you think you're too strong to go to the doctor to try to get help, that's what you call weak. That's what I call it. But if you go and try to seek help and go to the right people, that's not weak. That's using your brain. That's being smart. That's what I think.
Okay. Final question regarding this topic, and then we're going to move to something else. For younger people watching, especially young Black athletes, specifically young brothers, what lesson do you think they should take from this situation about success, pressure, and responsibility?
Look here, man. Everybody got the mentality that, oh, it's not going to happen to me. That's our mentality. The human race, that's the human race mentality. It's not going to happen to me. He was an idiot. He out there doing this and doing that and didn't watch himself. Anything happen to another person, you got to realize it can happen to you. So if we give up this macho stuff talking about, well, it ain't gonna happen to me. Okay, it's not gonna happen to you. Get out there and try it and see what happens. So what I would tell a young black person, Caucasian, Hispanic, Japanese, Chinese, Indian, African, anything can happen to someone else, could happen to you. So keep that in mind and just do what's right. It's not hard to do what's right. Everybody think it's hard to do what's right. It's not. It's easier to do what's right than it is to get out there and do what's wrong. If you think about it. So just remember this. Just remember that anything happened to my neighbor or my friend or my, somebody I know could happen to me. So be aware of that, and I think you'll be okay. But drop this saying, well, it ain't gonna happen to me. Okay, all right, not gonna happen. I'll be willing to bet you George had said that same thing. Well, I ain't gonna get caught doing this. I know better. Okay, you know better. We'll see. You can appeal it all you want. Your ass is gonna set out for 25 games.
$11.7 million worth of games. Damn.
You gonna tell me he got enough money back, set back that he could get that away? No, I don't think so.
Hell no. Not $11.7 million. I can see $11.
Hey, well, see,
not $11.7 million.
Everybody saying, well, he can do that. I can't afford to give $11 back.
So, okay.
So, how can he afford to give 11 million? Bullshit. Okay. Keep giving 11 million back and see what you have at the end of the year. So.
Hey, this is Street Dog Worldwide, holler with the big dog. Again, if you haven't done so, please click that like button, support and subscribe to the YouTube channel, support aneurysm awareness and those dealing with anxiety and depression. You know what, Pops? When we talk about life, accountability, and how people handle pressure off the field, it actually connects pretty well to what's coming up this weekend. Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Super Bowl week isn't just about, now look, Super Bowl week ain't just about the game itself. It becomes a media event, a spectacle where players are in the spotlight 24/7. And sometimes that spotlight catches celebrations and sometimes it catches controversy. There's been moments in NFL history where off-field news become part of this game. There was a Cincinnati Bengals player, Stanley Wilson Sr., a player in the late 80s who showed up in a cocaine-induced situation right before the team's Super Bowl. Ended not only his season, but his NFL career. And another time, Atlanta Falcons defensive back Eugene Robinson was arrested the day before the Super Bowl messing around with a prostitute, quote unquote, who ended up being an FBI agent and then gave up big plays in the game that followed. Those events are reminders that distraction, pressure, and personal choices can echo on game day. So before we break down the game and matchups, Pops, let's talk about the culture around this time of the year. How players handle the pressure, off-field moments get bigger than maybe the game itself, and what should happen about the expectations, preparation, and discipline. So, Pops, in your view, does all the off-field noise, the arrest, the viral moments, the social media backlash, help or hurt a player's mindset headed into the biggest game of the year and of their lives?
I know, it's once in a lifetime you make it to the Super Bowl. These teams, these guys that's in the Super Bowl this year might not make it back again. But see, that still don't give you a reason to get out there and just, as they say, let it all hang out. Be mindful of things that's going on in the world out there. Because you're at the Super Bowl, that don't mean that the people are not watching you and trying to get dirt on you. It's people hate the teams that's in the Super Bowl this year. They hate the players. And they're out there trying to get something on them because their team didn't make it to the Super Bowl. So you got to be aware of everything around. You've been aware all year you didn't get in no trouble like this. Why you let yourself go and get in trouble at the meaningful game of your life is coming up.
Life.
Yes. And you let things get out of hand. That don't make no sense. You've been good. Well, maybe they've been doing this all year. Who knows? They just didn't get caught. And a lot of them have been doing these things all year and didn't get caught. So they figure, hey, I'm at the Super Bowl. Hey, ain't nobody watching me now. I'm doing what I want. Okay. But see, when you get to the Super Bowl, you got the whole country watching you.
The world.
But during the regular season, you just got your city and your teammates and stuff like that around you watching you. But now you got, like you say, you got the world watching you now. And if you think you can get out there and do exactly what you want to do and get away with it, you better think not twice, not 3 times, but 4 or 5 times before you get out there and do something. So they're watching you. So, and these people that got caught doing things at the Super Bowl, and then 9 times out of 10, it's going to cost your team something. A game may cost them the game, cost them a big play, or what have you. But you just got to be mindful of everything. It's especially if you're a sports guy, because they're watching, they're trying to get dirt on you. They don't like you because you're making all this money. And if they can get something on you.
No, go ahead, finish up.
No, I was going to say, if they can get something on you to cost you some of that money, they're happy.
Yeah. Some players make headlines during the Super Bowl week and then have to perform 48 hours later. When you think of your own life experiences, do distractions like that generally work for people or against them?
A major distraction, like you were saying about this young man got caught by the FBI, I don't see where it helps him at. Because he's got to go into that game wondering what the hell's going to happen to him when he end up in court. So I don't think he can really concentrate on his job on the field. So I think it hurts myself. That's my opinion. I don't see where it helps him at.
Do you think the media and fans put too much pressure on athletes, not just to play well, but to behave like perfect people? Or is that just the reality of being a public figure today in society?
Well, the thing of it is, you're a public figure. You got to go. You got to figure the consequences. I said it before. People are out there trying to get dirt on you. You got to keep yourself clean. The media don't give a damn about it, because they're gonna report whatever they find out, whether it's true or not. They're gonna put it out there. So therefore, you got to be aware of everything around you and what you do and say. If you're a public figure, that's for government, football players, baseball players, basketball players. If you're in the public eye, you got to be aware of what's going on around you. It's just as simple as that. That's your job, to make sure things are square and done right, the right way around you. That's your job. And like I said, the media is going to report whatever they see or whatever someone tells them. It's just as simple as that. With it. Yeah, hey, they can ruin your life. The media can screw, man. The media can mess your life up so bad it's a crying shame. But like I said, we put ourselves in a lot of bad situations that we get into. If you're in the public eye, you know they're watching you. You know it's people out there dislike you. You know it's people out there want to get some dirt on you. So why not carry yourself appropriately? That's all I got to say about that.
Historically, we've seen teams overcome chaos and others crumble from it. When adversity hits right before a big moment, what separates those who rise from those who fall?
The strong will survive. You got to have a strong will. If something comes up, you got to be able to deal with it and move on. You can't sit and wallow in your misery. Now, what happened to this young man about the FBI? Now, if his team falls into that little hole with him, they will not win. They will not have a good game. You got to look at it and say, hey, he made a mistake. Let's go. Let's go. Let's drop that and let's get on the field and do our thing. You can't wallow in your misery. That's done. We'll deal with the rest of it after the game, after the Super Bowl. Right now, we're going out here now, and you are coming along with us. We ain't not going to leave you behind. We're going to drag you right along with us, buddy. And you get your ass out there and do your job. That's what's got to be told to this young man. You done screwed up. Well, you tried to get screwed, but you didn't. So now you're going to get out here and play some football. It's just as simple as that. They got to ride with him now. They got to carry him along with him. They got to let him know, hey, we're with you, but you got to get out here and perform. And once this is over and done with, the game is over and done with, whatever happened, of course, we're going to ride with you. And that's what got to happen.
All right. You know, Pops, when we look at stories like Stanley Wilson Sr. before the Super Bowl, or players today losing focus at the biggest moments of their lives, it really comes back to one simple truth. Talent will open the door, but discipline decides how long you stay in the room. We've talked about pressure, temptations, spotlight, and how one decision, good or bad, can echo for decades. Whether it's an athlete on Super Bowl week, a young person navigating the streets, or a grown man trying to protect everything he's built, the challenge is the same. Can you handle success when it finally shows up? The game of football mirrors life. The lights get bright, the noise get loud, everybody's watching. And not everyone is built to stay focused when it matters to most. That's why conversations like this matters, Pops, because they aren't just sports stories. They're life lessons passed down from generation to generation. What's your last word on this, Pops?
Just remember, if you're in the public eye, whether you're in politics, sports, music, whatever, just be aware there's people out there dislike you and trying to get dirt on you. And it's your job to keep your nose clean. And if you do what's right and do the right thing, no matter what they try to get on you, you can weather the storm. And enough of us don't put God in our lives to help us get over these things. They feel that everyday life, I can do a little drugs, and cause I'm in the, I got plenty of money, I can do a little drugs and get away. You can't. It's gonna catch up with you sooner or later. So just be aware of your surroundings and watch who you choose as your friend. Because everybody smile in your face, they're not your friend. So just remember, do the right thing, try to live a clean life. We all make mistakes, but don't constantly make the same mistake over and over. And just try to do the right thing. That's all. That's just my opinion.
All right. So to everyone watching and listening, take something from today. Learn from the wins, but especially learn from the mistakes. Stay locked in on your purpose and protect your legacy. I'm Stephen Stewart, the original street dog, howling with the big dog, Mr. Elijah Stewart, also known as Pops. We take things one bark, one bite, one bone at a time. And to always remember, y'all, live, love, laugh, listen, learn. If this conversation hits home, make sure you like, subscribe, and rock with us on Street Dog Worldwide's YouTube channel. We're bringing the real here, no filters, no fluff, just truth, perspective, and wisdom. Until next time, keep howling. Good working with you, Pops. Good episode.
Thank you, thank you, my man. Appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Have a good one, y'all. We'll see you on the next round.
All right. Don't forget to grab that little bone and hold on to it.
And to my older sisters, Michelle and Stephanie, continue to rest in peace. You are loved, honored, and terribly missed. Your baby brother loves you. And this concludes the segment of Howling with the Big Dog.